On the 4th of November 2023, the Hajom Kissor Singh Death Centenary Commemoration Committee of the Unitarian Union Northeast India organized a memorial lecture at Sosotham Auditorium as part of the 100-year death anniversary of the founder of the Unitarian faith in the Khasi, Jaintia and Karbi Hills. The guest of honor on the occasion was Chief Minister Conrad K. Sangma. Professor Dr. Streamlit Kar was the guest of honor and Dr. Sylvanus Lamare was the keynote speaker. Other guests present were MLA from Amlarem, Mr. Lakman Rimbui, members of different faith groups, members of the Khasi Authors Society, members of the UUNEI, and believers from all over the states. The special song were presented by the choir from Unitarian Church Madan Laban and the youth from the Unitarian Church Nongkrem.
Hajom Hajom Singh trong khi đó đi khắp đi ôi anh marway cả cốt khasi cả day bằng rum nhìn chu sa biết ba day nhìn mau buron you live cao trong Hajom Kissor Singh Hagari Khasi Umo Sanur Atoka Kasi Bangna Dunya Nina Banyaw Ikam Baka Keteng Kadai Banpa trong cả ba lan bánh nghe đuôi play u chơi chỉ con miết là bạn ski sân mai mà ha là say Juni tiền mà lăng mà cao kapur lên kari Nhìn nhai tình ma ya ulong sen tin chắc tình xa hai Ni tình ma buron yu rêu cao trong ni Hajom Kissor Singh Hagari Khasi Unom Sanur Atoka Kasi Bangna Dunya Nina Banyaw Ikam Baka Keteng Kadai Banpa
Glory be to God Almighty in the highest for guiding and inspired our Unitarian Union to organize this special program as we commemorate this momentous occasion of the death centenary of Babu Hajom Kissor Singh Nongri, our esteemed founder of modern Unitarianism in Northeast India. The sudden illness had taken him away from us at Poryang village 100 years ago on 30th November 1923 at his prime age of about 58 years only. On behalf of the Unitarian Union, Northeast India, and on my own behalf, it is a privilege and honor for me to welcome everyone present here today. Firstly, I extend my warmest welcome to Sri Conrad T. Sangma, Honorable Chief Minister of Meghalaya, who was kindly spared his precious time to create this extraordinary memorial lecture. Your leadership, sir, is inspiring. Thank you so much for being with us.
The memorial lecture was opened by the lighting of the chalice by the President of the UUNEI, Mr. Marky Pasa, followed by a reading and welcome speech from the President of the UUNEI.
Bless all the leaders of our state, the leaders of the different organizations, and the leaders of the different churches, mosques, and temples who are trying to build bridges to connect our lives.
Back tomorrow night.
Chief Minister Conrad K. Sangma, in his speech, paid tribute to Hajom Kissor Singh and said that this lecture had opened up his mind and enlightened him in many things about the life of Hajom Kissor Singh. He said that Hajom Kissor Singh's life and work are an inspiration to everyone and that we should all try to learn and emulate from them.
Let me start by paying my deepest sense of respect and tribute to Babu Hajom Kissor Singh Nongbri, for whom we have all gathered here today. And we have heard a lot about him and his beliefs and his way of looking at life, I should say. And I don't want to go into details about all the different aspects of what he believed in and how he lived his life. And his life itself was an example of his beliefs. And what we heard from both our speakers today, I think has given us immense knowledge and information that I'm sure a lot of you were not aware of. I was aware of maybe just about 50%, but it was really an eye-opener for me today. I also was not aware of so many facts that were there and the beliefs that he had and the kind of initiatives that were taken way, way before his time. In fact, if you look at the different points that were mentioned, I was surprised to learn about the skills aspect, as was mentioned by Professor Lamare, that the skills aspect, even in the 1900s, 1 century ago, was something that he had really, really pushed and introduced. He was focused on different aspects of environment, again, something that was way ahead of his time, in the sense that the issues are coming up today in our generation and during our times. But imagine the kind of thoughts that he had and the beliefs that he had. And as I said, the way he lived his life is a real example, I should say, and an inspiration. That is the correct word I would like to use, as an inspiration to all of us, to political leaders, to educationists, to environmentalists, and I'm sure to the young children who are present out here, to really learn. It is not just about the faith, as one would say, or the beliefs, as one would say, just from a spiritual aspect, but it is, as I said, making that particular belief a part of your life. I think that is really the message that was being given today, and that is what Babu Hajom Kissor Singh had believed in, and that is why, as was mentioned by almost all the speakers, that it is something that we all should try to emulate and learn from, and it could make a huge difference in the way we look at things. Apart from that, I was, of course, listening to both our speakers, and they spoke immensely about different contributions made in terms of literature and in terms of the Khasi language in the past, during that period when the great writers had written and really given the base and foundation to the Khasi language. And it's something that, as we mentioned, has been something that now is being built upon, and I'm happy that all our academicians and linguists and other fields, individuals from cultural field have now started, not now, but have been doing and really pushing to ensure that we promote the language to the maximum level that's possible. And of course, as you're aware, that the demand for our 8th schedule in terms of wanting Khasi language and Garo language to be put in the 8th schedule is an issue that we have taken up at a different level now, where a resolution has been passed by the Assembly, which was not done in the earlier times, and continuously more than 4 to 5 memorandums have been submitted to the central government. And I want to give you that assurance that we will continue to push and ensure that we don't leave any stone unturned in terms of ensuring that our languages are also put in the 8th schedule. I would like to just also mention about the different challenges that have been mentioned about in the speech of the respected speakers that we had today. And while we do face challenges in education, we do face challenges in our society today. But I would like to just add to the situation by saying that the entire process or the system or the situation that we face keeps changing. And hence today's world, which is quite complicated and quite small, at the same time globalized, but becoming smaller and smaller because everything is coming into the mobile phone. It's a very different world today. And our youth, while we need to ensure that we get our foundations and our roots correct, and we don't forget our identity. I've always believed in this one thing, that identity makes us who we are. And hence, I urge our youth that in this today's changing world, in a very fast world, I have 2 lovely daughters. Both of them are very, very much into tech. I think most of the children are in today's world. And they know the kind of things and informations that I could never imagine at the age of 5 or the age of 6 and 7. And that's the kind of world that we're living in, where the knowledge level is so high, so much information is there. So in this whole aspect of the changing world, the only way that we can remain grounded is to ensure that we remember our roots. We remember who we are. We remember what is our identity. We should remember our culture. We should remember our faith. Without this, you will get lost in today's world. And therefore, in this changing environment and the world, these factors are even more important today, even more important. And that is why, while we are doing so many programs at different levels, I think it is a young generation which we need to focus on, have innovative programs to keep reminding them about our culture, about our leaders, our forefathers, about how our language, how our culture has been, and put it into their mind so that they never forget their roots. And while we do that, as I said, the world is changing. It's a competitive world. It's very difficult to survive in today's world. We're going to be competing with not just human beings, we're going to compete with computers. We're going to compete with artificial intelligence. I was just watching a small video the other day. So there was this one software that is on AI, and you just have to speak into it and say, I would like to see 2 children from the village sitting on top of a mountain eating laddu. That is what the guy said to the software. And artificial intelligence got the pictures from different parts of the world and the web and put this whole picture together and looked just absolutely real. 2 young boys and girls, 1 boy and girl, eating laddu on top of a hilltop. It's not a real picture, it's just AI created it. I mean, the kind of things that are happening in today's world is something that I think we should be aware of. And I would want our youth to be able to compete at that level, no matter what the level is. I know it's a very high ask. It's not easy. We have a lot of challenges at the grassroots. I'm not saying that they are not challenges. I'm not saying they're not important. Neither am I saying that I'm just, trying to have big targets. But I think we need to have big targets. We need to push ourselves. We need to push our youth. And that is the reason why, as I said, we are really focusing on a large number of these kind of sectors: entrepreneurship, IT, food processing, high-end tourism. We have 70,000 youths who enter the workforce every year. Every year, 70,000. And that number will go up to 1 lakh after 10 years. Are we ready as a society to be able to economically give the space and the opportunity to our youth to be able to follow their dreams, live their dreams? I think we need to think about those challenges. And while we focus on, of course, our identity and roots, which, as I said, is absolutely necessary in today's world, we need to look at what is coming in the next 10, 15, 20 years. When we have 1 lakh children, we have to provide jobs to. And by the way, some of you may know, some of you may not know, MPSC has on an average, advertised 400, 500 jobs a year. And all the other departments and district selection and this and that, police, all put together, on an average, highest every year, not more than 2,000. So if 2,000 government jobs are being created, what happens to the rest of the 68,000 youths who will not be able to get those government jobs? And hence, I think it's important that we have our eye on the ball and know how, as a government, as a society, as a state, where we move forward. And I think it's great that today we had such a deep insight of our culture, and it was an eye-opener for me. Really, thank you so much for inviting me out here. I think I have learned so much more than what I have been able to speak. So I'm a net gainer today by coming here, because I got to learn so much from all of you. I got to learn from our professors who spoke about the life history. And I would like to really thank them and assure you that there's a lot that I have taken in from here. And you will see it being implemented in decision-making and in governance in the coming months and years. I think small things have really pricked my mind when I heard them. And I think this is a good thing. Because these are important. And can you imagine, even after 100 years after he's gone, this really is called true legacy. This is really called, I shouldn't say even a memorial lecture, it's a tribute. Because, it's a legacy and a tribute. Because, as I said, what happens with legacy and what happens with great people is that even though physically they're not there, their ideas will never go. And when their ideas can impact generations, centuries, well, you can imagine how powerful those people and their legacy is.
Professor Streamlet Dhakar paid tribute to the founder of Unitarianism in the Khasi and Jaintia Hills. Professor Dhakar focused on Hajom Kissor Singh's contribution to education, literary work as a poet, composer and philosopher. She mentioned about how Hajom Kissor Singh lived in a generation with other renowned personalities who are also close friends, and also at a time where there were only 3 schools of thought and the presence of religious conflict among them. Talking about Hajom Kissor Singh as a poet and composer, Professor Dhakar extracted some of his writing from the book Kajing Shaiblay, where she lauded his composition, done so beautifully that would touch the hearts of those who reads them.
Because in the 100 years span of celebration of his death anniversaries, I'm aware that many researchers and speakers, gone and alive, have spoken much about Kanyam Maniweble, or the Unitarian religion, which came into existence in our land with a humble beginning of Babu Hajom Kissor Singh's effort. And now it has grown and spread like a gigantic tree that spread its branches up to the sky so high and pierced its roots deep down to the earth across the districts of Meghalaya and Northeast. Today, I would like to concentrate my speech on his contributions to education and his writings both as a poet-composer and as a philosopher. Babu Hajom Kissor Singh had lived in a generation with other renowned personalities of the times. Dr. Silvanus Lamare had already showed the slide. And those were Babu Jibon Roy Myron, whom they were close friends with Babu Hajom Kissor Singh, Babu Hormurai Deng Dot, Babu Radhan Singh Barry Karwanlang, Sipcharan Roy, Babu Susotham, and others, to name a few. That was the period where the three schools of thought and the religious conflict among the religious conflict was there, among these school of thoughts. When I talk about these school of thoughts, we will remember the Welsh Methodist Calvinist mission, the Salvatorian mission, and of course, the St. Cassie School of Thought. Well, it was understood with an apprehension that each of these denominations would like to promote its own faith in these hills and took language and literature as a tool to preach the new faith to the people. Without mentioning the first two, let me come only to the last one, as the tug of war seemed to have ended when indigenous writers emerged in the period. The Khasi thought had been revived through writings done by these stalwarts about the essence of Khasi culture diverging from the Christian literatures given by the missionaries. The writings of Babu Jibon Roy, Babu Radhan Singh Barry Karwanlang, Babu Sipcharan Roy, Raban Singh Kharsuka have totally brought a paradigm shift in Khasi literature. You may call it that period as a Renaissance period in Khasi literature. Many would think of why the name of Babu Hajom Kissor Singh be mentioned here. A mention of his name is because he was not only the founder of Unitarianism in our land, but his unique contribution as an educator for conservation and promotion of Khasi language. His association to uplift education in our hills, especially in Jaintia Hills and the slopes of Jaintia, was commendable. When his followers of Unitarian faith numbered about 30, Babu Hajom Kissor Singh opened an elementary school at Jowai to teach them about Khasi language as a medium of instruction, not only to let them get formal education, but to also understand the Unitarian faith. Babu Hajom Kissor Singh, the then manager of Unitarian Free School, along with Sosotham, the then headmaster of Shankong Opo Primary School, and Samuel Shalam, the then officiating headmaster of Jowai Opo Primary School, were concerned about the difficulties faced by the Khasi students at the upper primary level, who had been taught in Khasi language as a medium of instruction, but had to appear for examinations in English language that had created a lot of difficulties to them, even to understand the question set for the examination. Whereas the other non-Khasi students were allowed to write in their own language, Assamese and Bengali, and the questions were also set in the respective languages. So the trio jointly wrote a petition to the Director of Public Instruction Assam through the Sub-Inspector of Schools, Jaintia Hills, and the letter was dated July the 8th of February 1902. I quote, "Sir, we the undersigned headmaster of the two schools, Joai, ME, and Shangpung Upper Primary Schools, and the manager of the Unitarian Free School, from which candidates are sent to the upper primary examination, beg most respectfully to say that our students have suffered many disadvantages from year to year for having questions set and requiring answers to be in English instead of their own language, as in the case of Bengalis and Assamese. May we therefore request the favor of your making the following changes in the question papers in future. Number one, that the questions in mental arithmetic, needlework, and history be in Khasi. Number two, that explanation of passages and meanings from English textbook may be required to be in English, and Khasi, half of the marks being allotted to answers in each language. Number three, that easier questions in the mental arithmetic may in future be set, because in this and the previous years, they are found to be very tedious for Hill students. Unquote. The response from the Blue booth, the then DPI was, I quote, "I have the honor to say that I agree with the applicants on all points stated in the application. Children must be taught in their own vernacular language to the end of the upper primary standard," unquote. Friends, see how fortunate to have these visionaries in the past who thought for the welfare of our students, which may be put now as a food for thought, especially to the educationists of today and the education department of the state of Meghalaya, while we are struggling hard to get our Khasi language included in the 8th schedule of the Constitution of India. As an educationist of that time, Babu Hajom Kissor Singh's expertise was recognized by the government, and he was one of the textbook committee members, along with Dr. John Roberts, the father of Khasi literature, to select the best books to include in the syllabus for the students. Babu Hajom Kissor Singh had contributed to promote Khasi literature through his writings. We can take the excerpts from the very old newspaper, Khasi Minta, the Khasi Today, edited by Hormurai Dengdo. On September 1st, 1896, it was written, I quote, "Ngalayo I artali ki kitab read tracts, balatho agatin kasi da ubabu Hajom Kissor Singh, but yakaway ka kot kablang kasi da unil moni. Kakasi jom kita ki kot kalong kaba itanat shibon e. Kita ki kitab yalam bet shibon ya unong puye. Namar baga jing spell jongki, but karugam kren ne style kasi jongki ki bet bat ki yat gurbha." Roughly, I just translated like this. I had seen two small tracts written in Khasi by Babu Hajom Kissor Singh, and the other book translated into Khasi by Nilmoni. The Khasi language was beautifully done, and the spelling and style of writing was correct. Another excerpt from the same newspaper, Khasi Minta, June 1st, 1899, wrote, I quote, "Based on his compositions, Babu Hajom Kissor Singh was very clear in his thoughts that he did not believe that blood or sacrifices of someone could cleanse our sins. Salvation depends on our struggle. So he sang, I quote, Nang net hagas na ne jing knya, jing pen em ban ai hanga, lim ne badon kik siang bob ha, ban ba rendang ki pop jonga, jing pen em shong ha jing le sha shitong. Hymn number 6, unquote. He therefore left the Christian faith and upheld Unitarian faith till the last days here on earth. Well, let me tell you, it will take a very long time to fully analyze his hymns with a depth in his philosophy, both physical and spiritual. 2 or 3 PhD theses may be produced from his compositions, seeing from different perspectives, as a strong believer of Unitarianism, as a poet-composer, a study of his style in his writings, the usage of Khasi language with clarity, and so on and so forth. What I observe about his compositions is that, being a poet-composer, he used the phonological sound of the Khasi language. Linguistically, we are very pertinent of this usage by correctly using the alphabet Yi and N whenever the word was applicable. Babu Hajom Kissor Singh has left a space in the hearts of many believers of Kanyam Maniwegle and in the hearts of those who appreciate his contributions toward Khasi language and literature and other contributions to Khasi society during his lifetime. Babu Hajom Kissor Singh passed away on 13th of November 1923. Though he had gone 100 years ago, his name is still alive throughout generations. His legacy will continue on in the believers of Unitarian with the motto Tunanrai, keep on progressing.
Dr. Sylvanus Lamare spoke about the life and work of U Babu Hajom Kissor Singh. He also stressed on the contributions of this brilliant person to the Khasi literature from his writing, which had been published in different books during those days. He also mentioned about the year 1880 to 1925 as the main years in the Khasi history, where many intellectuals from Khasi Hills like Ujibon Roy Mariam, Radhan Singh Berry, Rabban Singh Kharsuka, Nisor Singh, Soso Tham, and others were there. Dr. Lamare also highlighted the contributions of Hajom Kissor Singh through homeopathy services and also the contribution he made in education, where he started the schools which not only teach the students about the syllabus, but also about the vocational training like weaving, music, and others to nurture the talents they had.
Akai Babu Hajom Kissor Singh hanong nongri akasantrik ubnajali ukatras pandu kenda sai sopen bagidik berkema was sai sopen kene juga jaka balkai susuta makasnem katras pak nyupulai paju ude bursing balnyang ubalong kurang pak kulit berketeng kemi dei bida nongri lepas kami English sekarang kemeningkong first division ke second entrance banakada bajing kedua jimlala mani polis kau kata berade banwan ada kam banilang idut banomba kerta kawa arpo lasdang menteri kam sorkar lakrano hakalai tarik unai win kat kendai spa arkulai hapuriang idok klun no mungkin ila jumpa batho kumni sana hakiji peli jimut kut ubabu Hajom Babu Kissor ulakempang bat klat kensan hapuriang haunai win kat kendai spa arkulai Kelayo Sumbar. Di ubah kamai sing karni, mat kabalang punyang kibal pendek dengan yang tangbat pengkui ya kabet Babu Kissor harkat kenden mut kibahayi kibalawannya kijat naraban. Ankut. Mentangnya kini kisnam diperengkap bahawangi kum kejat mereka singi di bentip. Kisnam katras pak prapo hado harknais pak arpsan. Kini kisnem kibaw kum gajay pudel kasi ngide ban sungaw sarong bat kan mauburam. De kini kisnem baw jiban roy mayrom uradan Singh Berry uraban Singh Kharsuka harmurai dingdo Singh Roy jay kar modern bare Nisor Singh Sosu Tham Hajom Kissor Singh bat we girang ba khasi KM mentang kan kendiat Jiban Roy Myrom Rajan Singh Berry ba Raman Singh Khazwa ngitip eki kum gi laiteri ki mau bersiu lainut ki mau bersiu jong ka thok perkhat khasi hakar ko perkhat khasi ka thok atat khasi ko perkhat khasi bari ki jing thok jo kini ki lainut ba kinong rim jo ka jai bari khasi nang la ban kan mau menta nang ta pa homora ding do de nong thot khubo jong khasi menta hak tu ki por nang tau section roy ba de khasi ba pas ning ko ai ka matrek nang tau menun bare de nong tho khasi bo pa ba ba tho ro ga drama misi ka bra pen pa sha ai ke baca itu ki por nu so sing de nong tho dictionary bra tho ai dictionary khasi dictionary nang ta khasi English dictionary English khasi dictionary nang ta susta po nong tho potri bo pau tam jo ga ga khasi bat Hajom Kissor Singh pat udai uba ni mentang ngin second company as pangdu nang ta preng kita ko radon ru John Roberts Ufaraji Abel John Roberts ni tip yu kung pa khasi literature bat uji Abel pat udai German Salvadorian ubal ko ai borra ya ka printing press undai hamni apo sorchelo andai halai kan so hak tu report baru kita tiba malanyo kerteng kita lau senyang ubah kita penuh pensa kene iki kompar khat khasi bad ki baga jai bin riu kadan mentang ikan mau berpang yang kan khus siap ke basispa jong bobu Hajom Kissor Singh nong bri kajing don ki kita kirang ba hak te ko por kalalong ngajing kersi khasi hak tu ko por bat pegedit ki manom men supriang khabret kat ke bawah nasani mat kami nak sentuh jong ki misnuri mat jong ki barang boker kajing kan mau buram ya unu ni kanu balai ina kupta ka jai mure wari ka kam ka ba don buram mari liban partu pasat lagi jingtip baklong din kintip an kin buram ya lagi jong ikrau perkhat kajing jan jongi bat kiwe ki jai benreu kapelong yang ia bakat tu kan ikut kompor khat kandung hagur hapo kajai berejungi bobu Hajom Kissor Singh ila tho kumne ka snam khat pras pak na boy quote in the Khasi religion at present there are thousands of demons and many rites and customs. I believe our forefathers had few demons and have heard from old people that at first our forefathers worshipped and offered sacrifices to God and not to demons at quote kadai jing on ko kan chai wo kwa ini khasi banwa ban mani yo blai balesti ke jing on barang kadai jing on barang ye dur bag ini kisni ki jogi ki ba menta ngatrai bar khoi piedon ki khon ki ti haye ki ksio pinpet ba menta grami bun ki jinget ki ba nakadau ke jing roi state jong ka social media bat ka internet bat ki we rat pathai kubor ki khun ki jogi ki barang ade ki tip bun ki ba kim dei ban tip kum kita ki cyber kita ki kijai natai pila stepi kei bagi kena menta kitip kani gare ke ba kabar perdebatan pengedit ini namar ba lagi sedang ngi ke bawana syaba kat pengkelan ke banget ke badan nambah kejai berjungi na tarang dan kaman kitya ban pep ban yong ban bom yundai ban nang pendoi ya ke sini undai ban pendoi ya ke jimba kejai berjungi ka report jong ka Assam administration of the province of Assam katho kumni quote Kissor Singh's aim of Khairim age 59 had a stroke of paralysis and Hajom Kissor Singh head clerk of the Jawai subdivision office was appointed D1 of the state for 6 months from the 27 December 1902 Shushu Ngilap the Deputy Commissioner Captain D. Herbert proposed the appointment of Hajom Kissor Singh, a head clerk in the subdivision office of Jawai, as eminently fit for the office of D1 and to temporarily exercise all powers of the same. This was accepted by Sir J.V. Fuller, the officiating Chief Commissioner, and thus emerged the office of the D1 for the first time and only once in the history of Khasi state.
Reverend Derek P. Pariat in his speech lauded Babu Hajom Kissor Singh for his contribution to the Khasi literature, which can be seen in the hymns which he had written and the translation of English songs to Khasi language. Reverend Pariat also talks about the contributions of Kissor to the Unitarian Church, which he had taught and preached not only about spiritual life but also to respect the environment.
We are here to pay tribute to Hajom Kissor Singh Nongri, a lesser-known son of the soil, who was a great poet, writer, social reformer, and an indigenous exponent of Unitarianism. Hajom Kissor Singh, as we've all heard, was born in Saisopen, Sora, on the 15th of June in 1865, some 24 years after the arrival into the Khasi Giant Hills of the Welsh Presbyterian Mission. He was the elder of two sons of Bor Singh and Midan Nongri, and his brother Kissor Singh were both who educated at the Methodist Mission School, where both showed excellence in the literary field. At the age of 15, he became a convert to the Welsh Presbyterian faith. He married Parinban Rani in 1884 at Maukhar Presbyterian Church, and the ceremony was conducted by Reverend T. German Jones. He joined the civil government service in 1885. From his youth, Hajom Kissor Singh had a considerable aptitude for religion, and after his conversion, he started an in-depth study of the Bible and other religious texts. He found in the teachings of Jesus the message of divine love, the love that casts our fear, the overcoming of evil with good, and the sublime belief in the essential divinity and potential splendor of the human spirit. Thus, in 1885, when he was 20 years of age, Hajom Kissor Singh left the Welsh Calvinist Church and embraced Unitarianism, which in Khasi is Kanyam Maniwe Blay. From then on, he became a missionary of his faith to others, and on the 18th of September 1887, he founded the Unitarian Church at Jawai. The story of how Hajom Kissor Singh became a Unitarian and founded the Khasi Unitarian Church is one of the romances of religious history and should have an honored place in the larger story of worldwide liberal religion, wrote late Margaret Barr. Hajom Kissor Singh, according to Margaret Barr, was not only a great man and a great Unitarian, but was also a poet and a writer of hymns. The hymns which he wrote were beautiful, not only in thought, but in the language in which the thought was expressed. Furthermore, the Bible extracts which he included in the service book are not word for word taken from the Khasi Bible, that is the mission translation, but translated by himself with astonishing results. Miss Barr wrote Psalm 139, for instance, which in the Khasi Bible is in plodding prose, becomes in the Unitarian hymn book a magnificent piece of Khasi poetry. And it's not that he achieved this at the expense of the liberal interpretation of the thought. However, verse 9, for example, which in the Khasi Bible runs, "If I take wings in the morning," which sounds like setting off by daily air service to New Delhi, recaptures in Kissor's translation the magic of the authorized version by saying, "If I take the wings of the morning." It needed a poet to do this. In her stay in the Khasi Giant Hills, Miss Barr observed that plagiarism was common in Asia. We talk about this today. We talk of GPT, chat GPT and all this. We talk about plagiarism even today. She found that even the Welshmen in those days, when they stayed in the Khasi Giant Hills, indulged in this. When she looked up the hymn in the index of the Welsh mission book, she found that the name of some Welshman or the other was given as authors of the hymns instead of the original authors, when in fact they had just translated the hymns to Kasi. As stated earlier, Hajom Kissor Singh, being a great poet, composer and philosopher, has composed many hymns depicting a clear picture of the ideals of Unitarianism. Strangely enough, he converted Jesus' words according to John chapter 4, verses 23 to 24 into a hymn and credited its composition to Jesus himself. To describe Kissor Singh's literary work is to describe the Unitarian Service Book. Excellent as was the Book of Worship for content, there is an opinion of a Welsh missionary that as a writer, Mr. Singh was the star of the Kasis. When he commenced his work, writes another scholar, Magnus C. Ratter, the education of the Kasis in reading was but 30 years old. It was only in his father's time that the missionaries had given the people an alphabet. Consequently, there was practically no literature in the vernacular written by Kasis. So it must be placed to his credit that very early he helped to give his people a literature. He ranks with the first pioneers who created a Kasi literary style. The sad thing is that he is forgotten. He is forgotten and ignored by many just because he is the founder of a religion different from that of the majority, thus neglecting his contribution to the growth and development of Kasi language, which we today see so urgently the need to get a status of recognition in the 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution. As a minister of religion, I would not be doing justice to my work if I don't say a few words about his religious philosophy. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God and thy neighbor as thyself. This message runs like a golden thread through the hymnal of the Unitarians here at the Khasi Hills, which he prepared for his followers, and through it, everything that he taught. Love for God, the universal parent, and love for our fellow humans. On this strong foundation, he built his church. The Lord's Prayer, as taught by Jesus, is an integral part of the Khasi Unitarian service, not because of anything else, but because of its importance, because of the importance of its teachings. Hajom Kissor Singh, may I say, was ahead of his times on issues concerning humans and their relationship with Mother Earth and the universe. He throws light on the concept of a pluralistic and a multicultural society way back in the 1800s. His hymns teach us to be humanly religious. He reminds us of the need to listen to one's conscience because he says it's the voice of God. We are to practice tolerance, to reason, and to exercise freedom. In the Unitarian anthem, he laments about the various issues afflicting society, such as greed, and also talks about the need to conserve and preserve the environment, the need to be creators of communal harmony, and the need for us all to work for clean and corruption-free governance. He calls on leaders of those days to do justice in all things that they do. Hajom Kissor Singh empowered women by encouraging them to partake in services as worship leaders, a tradition which is still practiced today. It may be mentioned here that the Unitarian Church of Northeast India is the first religious denomination in our part of the world to have ordained women as ministers of religion, and we are so proud that Reverend Darihon Kriam, a product of Chicago University's Meadville Lombard School of Theology, is our current General Secretary. Someone said, why leave something behind? Leave something forward. Leave something asymmetrical so that someone can work on and take it forward. This is what Hajom Kissor Singh left us with. He left us with something to work on, knowing fully well that the truth is relative and can never be absolute. He is progressive and accommodating to change. He says we have to change with the changing times. He has done, my dear friends, what befits his times and expects us to do the same for our own day and age. That's why our motto is Tonam Rai, keep on progressing and evolving, he said.
The memorial lecture concluded by the vote of thanks from Dr. C. Nongbri, Women's Wing UUNEI.
Thank you is a prayer that comes from the heart.
The Master of Ceremony were Mrs. Amon Palaipada and Dr. Arkhamha Kupar Nongbri.
Babu Hajom Kissor Singh Nongbri's profound legacy will continue to guide and inspire us in our lives. His unwavering commitment to unity, enlightenment, and the advancement of Khasi literature remains an enduring beacon for us all.
As we draw the curtains on this significant occasion, let us carry forth the enduring legacy of unity and enlightenment that Babu Hajom Kissor Singh Nongri held so close to his heart. May his unwavering spirit continue to inspire positive changes in our lives and echo through our communities. On this day, may you be blessed with moments of grace and meaning. With the deepest sincerity, we express our profound gratitude for joining us in commemorating this special event.